As the sports betting boom continues to take over the United States, we thought it would be a great time to sit down with David Henwood of H2 Gambling Capital to go over some of his recent reports and findings and discuss what the future holds for this booming industry. So David, thanks for taking the time to be with us. And if you don't mind, go ahead and just quickly run over a little bit as to what H2 Gambling Capital offers.
Okay, so we've got our own proprietary tracking model that's basically been looking at the sector since before the online really started, so the early 2000s. We now cover over 230 different territories, jurisdictions around the world. We are UK based, but we're a global company, so the main analyst team is in the UK, but we've got eyes and ears all over the world. So one of probably the main reasons we're involved in the US market was pre the Supreme Court decision to repeal PASPA in 2018. We actually spent 6 months in the country sizing the illegal market. That's the amount of bets that were going offshore or leaking out of the country. And we actually found 196 billion worth of bets leaving the US just immediately pre that Supreme Court decision. And quite simply, it's no market has started with such a large or entrenched offshore amount of activity. So that really got us interested in tracking the market quite closely.
Okay, well, just an interesting thing, especially with the offshore market. I know, what was it? The 2016 election alone was, I believe, the second largest event bet in all of Europe, the U.S. presidential election. And with this year's election having numbers that far surpassed that from a gambling handle perspective that we saw in 2016, do you see that as a setback for a lot of the regulated books, considering they had to sit this one out? You have to think in 4 years they'll pass legislation to allow them to offer these betting odds. But it is kind of interesting to see 2020 as a year of rapid expansion for the gambling industry in the U.S. And then the most bet event everyone had to go offshore for.
Yeah. And I mean, what's actually happened, Zach, is the illegal market has bumped up a little. So, I guess because of the mainstreaming of sports betting and betting, within the States generally, with more people talking about it in more states, more and more players are starting to seek out, ways that they can bet. And perhaps those that haven't had a wager previously are looking to, where they can bet. And many are still betting on illegal sites. So that number has actually bumped up quite significantly this year. The American Gaming Association actually did a survey in June of this year that said that some 52% of bettors in America had admitted to betting offshore in this current year. And that's, I suppose it's probably a little bit the norm, but what was a surprising stat coming out of it was that almost 3/4 of them didn't know that they were betting on illegal sites as opposed to legal sites. So although we've got a fast regulating market rolling out, it's actually got a way to go to catch up with its illegal counterpart.
Well, so that brings up an interesting point. So you've got a lot of the regulated books putting in measures, especially through, restrictions with affiliates, with advertisers, are really trying to, cut off the lifeline or the umbilical cord to the offshore. So that combined with expansion as legislation, sees more states adopt, measures that allow regulated gambling to take place in their jurisdictions. And as the federal government and state government step up as well in their battle against the offshores, what do you see in terms of long-term from a financial perspective, from a markets and a capital like Wall Street, with a lot of these companies, given that, like you just stated, so many people continue to bet offshore. A lot of them don't even know what that means. If you took that money and were able to bring it all into a regulated taxable market, it should be a no-brainer in terms of the future and the, investing in some of these companies now.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I guess that's why we're seeing it happen, Zach. I mean, really, we've got it currently. It's going to be about a 1.4 billion GGR gross win market by the end of this year. But that's going to double in the space of 12 months. So by the end of 2021, we've got it growing to 2.7 billion. That's across 30 states regulating. It's currently legal in 19, 20 states at the moment. If you take it to the end of the first, this next presidential term, so by 2024, you'll effectively have some 44 states with some form of legal sports betting offer, which takes the market up to sort of 6.8, 6.9 billion. And then we've got it topping out in terms of our forecasts at 9.9 billion. So a 10 billion market by 2030 across some 44, 45 states. So you can see the attraction, not just within Wall Street, but a lot of the operators and investors all over the world, in the US, because quite simply it's the world's fastest sports betting market at the moment.